the car has been reported to the stewards for having a loose wheel during the pit stop. So I don't know, because well, if the wheel's on now, surely it's fine. If he's still out on the circuit, surely it's fine.
I don't quite understand what they mean by a loose wheel during pit stop.
They've got to take them off, haven't they?
From we could see from the camera in the pit lane, were attached securely. And clearly, there's been obviously the observer in the pit lane has seen something that has been reported to the stewards, and hopefully we'll get a clarification of that a little bit later.
Absolutely. So 27 minutes of this race remaining. Still Jan Clary out at the front of the field. He now roars past us into the pit lane, so then we will find out exactly who is where. There he is, the lead car getting on the brakes. Very, very dusty down in the pit lane. We saw a couple of cars locking up in warm-up and sliding along. Off comes the hands device into the car to take over the number 10 Belgian racing car. Goes Antoine Leclerc, and back into the lead of the race goes the 41 Ford GT. Fred Makoviecki, and the tyres are being changed down there, so Makoviecki leads across the line. And it'll still be Peter Dunbrick in second, still waiting to find out exactly what the clarification is on that. Then our third place man, Clivio Piccioni. Where will this feed the 10 car back out?
Well, it's a good job from the Hexes team. They've got their 2 cars ahead of Darren Turner at this point, with Andrea Piccini in 5th place. Darren Turner running about a second short of that car in 6th.
On board then with Antoine Leclerc coming out of the pits. So we've got Peter Dunbrick in 3rd place. Let's hear from his teammate Richard Westbrook. He's down in the pits with Haley.
Richard, you seem to be quite wound up, disappointed with that pit stop. What's happened?
Well, we had a really good strategy. Obviously the Ford's very quick, and we did our best to keep a constant gap, and he pitted 1 lap before, and we had a really good in-lap, and the boys did a great pit stop, but I lost about 4 seconds coming in because there was another Ford just going about 20k down the pit lane, which I think he had a problem. But you know, in that instance you should really get out of the way, because as you saw, we only came out just behind the Ford, so without that we would have come out 2 seconds in front. But it's just I think it was Nygaard in the car, and you know, it's very, very unsporting. I know there's not a lot to say really. There was a chance for a win today, but you know, Peter's getting a hammer down now. He's got a fresh set of tyres, and let's see what we can do.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Well, you can understand Richard Westbrook's frustration, and that's something that you can't control. If a car has a problem, that car, we think, has been retired. Maybe he was doing his best, and of course there's a 60-kilometre speed limit in the pit lane, and you can imagine all the good work done by Westbrook and the team, and then to be frustrated by delay in the pit lane.
I presume that what's being insinuated is that the Ford GT is leading, and it was the Ford GT of Nygaard coming into the pit. So I guess the cynical person might suggest that's what was going on. But we had seen Nygaard spin and be hit, so it's quite plausible that he had a problem.
I think I don't believe there's any gamesmanship going on. I don't think that exists. Looking to see down the inside, and Nissan having a sniff.
It's David Brabham we're on board with, and he is right up behind Dominic Schwager as they come into the left-hander at turn 5. Then the right-hand king at turn 6. Wide line taken in by Brabham, trying to get the best run out of the corner. Doesn't quite work out. He's filtered out then overall in 7th place, so it wasn't quite as bad as it first seemed, his pit stop, but 7th when he was running 3rd is very, very frustrating. I think he'll possibly get past Schwager by the end of this race in the remaining 23 minutes. Whether he can then catch the Aston Martins in 3rd, 4th and 5th, I think that'll be a bit of a tough ask, because they are some 3 seconds up the road.
Well, you can see just how much time on respective 3 laps that David Brabham's been able to challenge the Lamborghini with. Quicker through turn 12, runs up close to the car coming through 13, then this drop and off camber turn 14, where everybody's pretty much out of the throttle, and you can hear David Brabham actually going down a gear in preparation for the again off camber turn 15. Then the very brief sprint up through 16, hard in the brakes, and hopefully gets a better entry, and therefore on the throttle slightly quicker than the Lamborghini. But you see the usual seesawing effect of first in, first out.
The Nissan is pretty quick in a straight line. Will he begin to close in on the Lambo as they come across the line? The gap between them is only 0.3 of a second. Into the braking zone for turn 1. Will stay on it as it goes right. Is there enough room for a little look up the inside? No. It looks as though Schwager covered that one. There's going to be a few opportunities for Brabham around this circuit. He's got a very good run out of there, so is it going to be 5 or 6?
Yesterday he did a really brilliant move on the exit of 4, and then it flows automatically into turn 5. But the turn 6, the corner that we're now about to come up to this tight right-hand corner, is he looking to do the same thing? Dominic Schweiger immediately covers that, allows David Brabham the possibility of coming back, but again, not sufficiently close. So Dominic Schweiger, fully aware, looking on the little screen, the TV screen within the car, with the rear-facing camera to tell him just how close the Nissan of David Brabham is.
Yeah, very, very clever driving from Dominic Schweiger, but he's going to have to be very clever for 22 more minutes. Look at this nice little cue. There is the 23 car of Michael Crum. He's in the middle of it. He's just ahead of Baz Linders, just behind Michael Rossi and Mark Basseng. Sorry, not Mark Basseng. It is the order must have changed a little bit since they last went across the line, because Leclerc was behind the Corvette when they came across the line that last time. So Leclerc has made his way up into 9th place. Then it's Rossi in 10th, 11th for Crum, I believe, is the order at the moment.
And then Baz Linders looking at every opportunity to try and get ahead of Michael Crum. We're on board with Michael Crum coming down through turn 14, and the Ford certainly has got the legs, and if Michael Crum is focusing as we would expect on what's happening ahead of him, he could find himself being caught and overtaken by Baz Linders.
Yeah, I've got the wrong China racing car. That's what's happened. It's actually Jerome Denber up there in 11th position. So as they come across the line, it's Leclerc 10th, Denber 11th, Crum 12th, and Baz Linders 13th. There's absolutely no way of distinguishing those X-Impact China Corvettes apart from the number.
They are identical in their spec and colour scheme, and Ford dropped backs a little bit just to give a bit of breathing space. Baz Linders using the opportunity, and will prepare for an attack very shortly. Back now to this battle with David Brabham in running in 7th place, and Dominic Schweiger. Dominic Schweiger has been very clever in being able to use his car, knowing probably that David Brabham has got the potential to be quicker as they jump through turn 9 and 10, by always putting his car in the very bit of racetrack that David Brabham might think I would like to use.
Absolutely, I think it's going to take a very clever move from Brabham to find his way past. Up into turn 12 they come. Is this going to allow Mark Basseng to close in? What was Basseng's last lap time? A 39.9 compared to these guys who are doing 40.5. So actually took about 0.6 of a second out of them on that last lap, did Mark Basseng, because Schweiger's having to go defensive into pretty much every corner. Look, down into this final corner, he'll go defensive. Yes, he will. Puts it in the middle of the road.
Yeah, David Brabham had to pull away to the left to avoid running into the back of the Lamborghini, and that was a lock-up from the Lamborghini, and David Brabham avoiding action. In the meantime, newcomer Jonathan Kennard, car 48, one of the two brand new Lamborghinis, he's been reported to the stewards for not switching his transponder.
Okay, that makes sense actually, because he came into the pits and then it looked like it was him again on his way out, as we see Michael Crum now right up behind Jerome Denber. He's in the slipstream. Denber, the Dutchman, going very defensive into turn 1. Crum pulls to the outside now. What he's going to try and do? Oh, he's going to try for the outside. That's going to be a brave one. It's very, very dirty offline. Denber can hold it on the inside line for turn 2. Crum's gone all the way around the outside. Round of applause.
Good move, good move. A lot of experience from Michael Crum, and a lot of good sense also from the Corvette, because it would have been easy to see those two cars make contact. And in this instance, Jerome Denber, who got involved in an incident on the opening lap of the qualifying race yesterday, could have ended up with another noseless Corvette. This time he thought better of it.
So now he's going to be coming under pressure from Baz Linders as well. To turn 6 they come. Fabio Piccioni and Andrea Piccini setting their personal bests on that last lap. So those two lapping within 1/10 of a second of one another. Very evenly matched team, that.
Interestingly, fastest race lap, Peter Dumbreck, 1:38.7, and that is a very, very quick pace. Best of saw, yes, it was a 39.1, so maybe indicating that track conditions a little bit better.
Absolutely, very, very quick. Can Maxime Martin's team hold out in the lead of the race?
Max, Peter's gone out on the Nissan on new tyres. Has Fred gone out there? Can he hold the Nissan off?
It will not be easy, but we have a car who is very constant, so I hope we can stay strong to the end. Fred is doing a very good job for the moment, so I hope it can be good until the end.
Did he have new tyres?
We don't have new tyres, so it will be difficult, like I said, but the car is quite constant, so I think it can be okay until the end.
Thank you.
You can see the yellow flags being waved at this corner. This is turn 8. They've been told not to use the curbs on the exit there, I think, because the bolts may be exposed. They've been checking those all weekend, those, because they were kind of last-minute addition to stop drivers going wide, and as a result, there's going to be no overtaking now as we can see full air.
I wonder how anybody can tell the bolts are coming loose without going out and having a physical inspection.
Possibly the
Other than when they were pulling away the
yeah.
Nicky Katzberg car, which was on the exit of turn 7, maybe somebody had a chance to look at the safety car. In the meantime, the gap between first and second, in spite of that stunning lap by Peter Dumbreck, is up to 2.3 seconds, and I think Maxime Martin pretty much summed it up. They've got a very well-balanced car that they can pretty much drive anywhere around the racetrack, and they're able to exceed. Are we going to see a safety car?
Yes.
Yeah.
So safety car is out. I wonder if it is for those possibly protruding bolts. So that,
yeah, 16.5 minutes to go.
It's not good news for Makovicky. It's very good news for Peter Dumbreck with his fresh tyres. As we see Benjamin Laumberger, he was in the pits. Very sensibly, the safety car eased off and allowed Laumberger to overtake. Good work there from the safety car. This is going to bunch everyone in. Is this going to bring the two Aston Martins into play? They have been lapping a little bit quicker. Well, I can't see it now because their last lap was under the safety car.
Yeah, but you see the third place car. Where's the fourth place car? They're both doing their personal best, but there's a substantial gap between those cars, some almost 6 seconds. No, it's actually more than that. It's about 12 seconds, the gap between third and fourth, as we see lots of lovely little pirouettes. And there, indeed, is the missing. And just trying to work out where that is. That's on the exit of 7 as you go into 8. So it's not actually in turn 8, it's on the exit of 7. That was pointed out to us during, again, the driver's briefing. So what they're going to try and do is either replace it or make sure that all remaining little humps or bumps, as you prefer to call them, are secure and safe for the remaining 15 minutes or so of the race.
It's an interesting layout of that corner because they've got that little curve in where it doesn't really do anything. You know, it's not a corner, it's nothing like that. You can see the bolts sticking up now.
It's the bolts from the bit that's missing that are sticking up, and the little bit of rumble strip that is now gone. There are 4 bolts that are stuck up in the air. Now, whether they hammer them into the ground or whether they try to cut them off will be worth watching.
Absolutely, but that little kink on the exit of turn 7 is only there so the track looks like a horse from above, because it's the horse's head. There's no need to have that kink there for racing terms. So there we go then. Here comes the van. And have they got new ones, or what are they going to do?
I think they're going to try and cut the bolts. I don't think they're going to try and do anything else. I don't know what they could do. So they got air equipment, I think, to do something. There we are.
So, Lucas Luhr was a very busy man earlier on. Michael Crum has now taken over that car, but let's hear from Lucas Luhr.
Lucas, it was a disappointing pit stop. Can you tell us what happened?
I don't know what happened. It was slow. We had it yesterday already. We lost about 10 seconds. And today we were really, in a good position regarding we have 60 kilos in the car, so points would be easily possible. But you cannot score points if the pit stops are not right. And we were 8. Dropped back down to 15s. I mean, I don't know what to say.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, he's having his voice. There we see that they've had an actual ground ride. Now you've got the guy with the mallet hammering it into the ground. And hopefully he might want to countersink some of those to make sure they're below the level of the ground, rather than have them still have the interference from the wheel of a car, because when a racing wheel and tyre goes over anything, it puts enormous loads. Good work by the circuit and the corner workers well, in fact, not even corner workers, they are some of the engineers, to get that job done, make sure there's no bits of the bolt that were cut away. Some of them were cut away with a grinder, and so a lot of work done in a short space of time, and hopefully with 13.5 minutes remaining, the safety car can be withdrawn in the next lap or so.
So this is the view back from our leader, Fred Makovicky, out there in front. He's going to be very, very frustrated, because as we heard from Maxime Martin, great work by Haley bringing us the information that Makovicky not on fresh tyres, Peter Dumbreck on fresh tyres. How key will that be in the remainder of this race? There's the section they've just fixed.
Yeah, I think Peter Dumbreck had the best of the tyre on his first flying lap.
True.
And now that we're into 3 or 4 laps of the run, the tyre will be at a more stable level, and therefore any advantage that the new tyre provided. Richard Westbrook, close-up view of